and here the smoke spreads, and there is just a crater.
І тут дим такий розвіється, і там просто воронка.
They shelled that ravine with such hatred, as if they knew that we were sitting there. And the shrapnel hits the notebook, pierces the notebook, pierces the bush, and literally 3 millimeters go into my chest. The shrapnel hits the notebook, pierces the bush, and literally 3 millimeters go into my chest. The Warrior. Ours, the Death Machine. February 24th, 2022. On February 24, our division was preparing at the training ground. We had tactical training. They were preparing us for the military service.
Наш дивізіон готувався на полігоні, були в нас навчальні, тактичні навчання, готували нас до виходу в ООС.
Shooting training, and on February 24, we were standing at the training ground, and the command came to lead pseudo, ours in the army since 2013.
24 лютого ми стояли на полігоні, і приходить команда.
The service began as a firefighter. In 2019, he was transferred to the position of a 2S7 ion gun commander of the 43rd Artillery Brigade of Great Power. A large-scale invasion met with the unit at the training ground. From there, he decided to defend Chernihiv region. Then he fought in the Kyiv-Kharkiv and Donetsk directions. He was awarded with the order for the courage of the 3rd rank. No one then understood where in such a hurry. No one knew anything, and then someone whispered somewhere. I heard that there was a war. No one really understood or joked. You know, the military is like this. There is a war in the country, and so on. No one understood. And everyone sat down and told us to go. No one said where to go. We drove for over 16 hours, more than 200 kilometers, to the city of Kyiv, just at the top on the armor, in the frost, all crew members.
Міста Київ. Просто на верху на броні, в мороз, усі члени екіпажу, як би так сказати, одіті були по погоді, казармена або бліндажна. Ніхто не очікував, що нас зразу перешлють зразу на бій. Ми тільки приїхали. Зараз не згадаю, коли, який час, але ми приїхали і буквально через півгодини ми вже стояли на бойовій позиції, вже заряджали снаряди. І тоді ми вже дізналися, що ми захищали Чернігівський напрямок по дорога Чернігів-Київ. Тоді багато було у нас перекидань, ми перезакопувались, багато напрямків були. Сектор був від Чернігівського напрямка до захисту аеропорт Бориспіль. Тоді в ці дні було наскільки багато, що зараз все не спам'ятаю.
We stood near Kyiv for about a week, maybe more, and then we moved around the Kyiv region, near Brovary, every 2 to 3 days.
Тоді ми переміщалися по області Київській, під Броварами, кожні 2-3 дні.
We did not stand still, we kept directions from Kyiv to Baryshaka. This was the route where they broke through and went in columns. We just had one moment when we were ready to shoot. We were told in 6 kilometers where the armored vehicles were going straight to us. And we, leaving this position, took everything quickly, drove 10 kilometers to Brovary, and from there we began to shoot this column.
Кілометрів на 10 під Бровари заїхали, і оттуда вже почали розстрілювати цю колону.
Artillery duels. The last time we were suppressing the targets near Bakhmut, they did not really notice us. Since we were working in the firing mode, I left so that they would not see me. We were in April, May, June near Kharkiv. We went to the city of Zolokiv to defend. Here we had a 2-barreled battery, one worked on one side of Kharkiv, and we worked on the other side near Zolokiv.
Їздили ми місто Золочів захищати, то там виїжджали, у нас була розділена батарея по 2 гармати. Одна працювала з одної сторони Харкова, ми працювали з другої під Золочевим.
Artillery duels were the main task for us. We went there to find the enemy artillery. They gave us coordinates. We went out of the forest. And immediately setting up positions, we just suppressed them. It was like they were looking for us. We found everyone alive and well. The machine was fine. Well, they were a bit out of luck.
Шукали, не знайшли, всі живі, здорові, машина, все нормально, косувати
artillery duels are a common thing, beating people. So yes, it was near Zolokiv. With one nuance, we did not really go to the city at the right time. Maybe their position was under fire. We found out later that they were just in here, in the background. About 70 meters away, there was a health club dimmer, and then a huge cloud of smoke and an explosion.
Може бути їхня позиція, це ми вже згодом дізналися, що просто вони прочесували посадку. Ми розвернули гармату, я виїхав одної гармати, ми подавляли артилерію противника, і тут на задньому плані, так десь метрів 70, такий здоровий клуб дима і взрив.
I turn around and think it's probably our guns. They're helping us, and the smoke is spreading, and there's just a crater. And such an incomprehensible feeling when they fired me for the first time. Then the battalion commander said, "We are going to retreat into the ravine, not far from us, because they had already started. The aviation flew in. They went to shoot at our positions with cluster munitions, and we were all probably hiding in the ravine for 2 or 3 hours. They fired at that yard. I don't know, with such hatred, as if they knew we were sitting there. And then we had to leave, because they were moving their fire closer and closer."
Вони обстрілювали той яр, я не знаю, з такою ненавистю, наче вони знали, що ми там сидимо. І тоді вже нам треба було відходити, тому що вони все ближче і ближче переносили свій вогонь.
And the battalion commander said, "We need to take the equipment." We did not think very long then. Of course, that's it. And here we had, it turns out, me with my mechanic driver, and we cooperated with Zakovi. And I said, "We have a maximum of 1.5 minutes for everything. It's just the maximum we can do."
З своїм механіком-водієм і замковим скооперувались, кажу, у нас є на все про це 1,5 хвилини. Максимум. Це просто максимум, за який ми можемо це зробити. Хоча система збирається там до 10 хвилин.
Well, what are we going to do? Otherwise, we would continue to shoot. And the battalion commander said, "That's it, good luck." And we ran. There was such a pop button or something. He says, the driver takes the pickup truck, you take the gun, we take the pocket, porridge or something.
Водій забирає машину підвозу, ви забираєте пушку, ми забираємо
And we are all like that. And how many of us are there? I say, the faster the better. I then tell the guys we have 1.5 minutes. And he is like this to the start, attention. And everyone ran to their work. We got together in a minute, maybe even less. And just from there we hit with such steam that the car probably did not squeeze out of the factory. We came to our base camp, masked the equipment. Then they started to wash their feet because they were sitting in the swamp. Everything was wet. They changed clothes. And here one of the guys says, "There is a quadrocopter above us." We get up and see that it's just above us. No one knew how it flew in, where it flew in, whether local or not local. And then you already understand that what will happen now, literally a minute or two, and it turns out that the incoming was through the road.
Буквально хвилина-дві, і, виходить, так, посадка через дорогу стояли у нас
And while they were chasing this quadrocopter, a shell was already flying over their car, and it was just shaking with shrapnel on the armor. And you already understand, literally 20 meters. And then, as a team, we go into the forest. I apologize, there were more emotions. And we were lucky that in this forest there were old German trenches, maybe Soviet.
Вибачаюсь, там більше емоцій було. І ми, повезло нам, що в цьому лісі були старі німецькі окопи, може радянські.
They were quite deep, and the guys immediately began to hide there. And I was the last one to set up. My guys ran deep into the forest to look for where I could hide.
Розставив своїх хлопців, побіг вглуб ліса шукати, де можна мені сховатись.
Lying there were such big trees, I think, well, they will protect.
Там були такі бревна здорові такі. Думаю, ну, захистять. І воно, виходить, так, кожні 40 секунд десь прилітає снаряд просто. І вони от начало посадки ліса почали так методично вибивати. Вони не шукали техніку, вони шукали просто людей. Техніка їм не цікава була, бо їх було мало. І вони стріляли по людям.
And then, no, I'm not interested. But what about the people? And then you want to get up and just run around and ask everyone, because the communication is only with the commander. And there were such mixed feelings. Well, in the next flight of the shell, a shrapnel hit me right in the chest. It turns out that the upper vest, the pocket was like that, and the commander's notebook was lying in it. And the shrapnel hits the notebook, pierces the notebook, pierces the bust, and literally 3 millimeters went into my chest. And I'm like, it's not clear whether I was hit with something or was it a stone. You're just lying all covered in soap. Who knows where it flew? Everything rings in the ears. And such a feeling then already like shit on your chest. What about the people? Where are they? And that's how it is. You know, this is the first time we felt, as it were, that they could hunting us.
Перший раз ми почувствували, як би сказати, що за нами можуть охотиться.
Feeling after the shot, I felt subconsciously that they were not shooting anymore. Maybe they reached the target, thought, or the shells ran out. You know, it's been 40 minutes. They don't shoot. Well, maybe they will not. I went to look for the places where I knew the guys were sitting, and you go through this fallen forest through which you went, for example, or you see some kind of orientation. How much it all fell on all the trees, and so big and so small. Everything was mixed up. I found everyone. Everyone is alive and well. I gathered everyone. Then we went deeper. Well, you can say that we spent the night until the morning and then returned to the vehicles and left the area. Fear I have been preparing myself for 14 to 15 years that they will take me. Well, since my profession as a firefighter was then more needed in my unit, since there were very large training units of artillerymen, as we had such a training unit, and it was necessary to reduce the volume. Well, I prepared a lot. Friends went, then on arrival they told me how to go. You feel that you should be taken away, you just readjust yourself. During the war, first I did not understand what was going on at all. Well, we shoot like at the training ground. The shells flew. They just did not know where they were shooting. Then after a couple of hours, they told us, they hit 5 tanks, they hit this and that. And then there was an enthusiasm to throw in even more shells, to kill even more Muscovites. And as such fear, probably, most of all, it was probably more scary for those close to you, who are in the cities where rockets arrive, where you simply do not control. When you see that a shell is flying near or where you can hide, and when you sit at home, drink tea or watch television, and you do not know that a rocket will fly to you, it's really scary. Emotions at war. At the beginning of the war, we were generally how to say those who did not sleep or those who slept where the sun was setting or where the sun was setting. It was not with us then such as tents or something else. I threw a sleeping man on the grass, hid in the sleeping bag, woke up in the morning already in the snow. The most difficult moment was probably on the 4th day when you realize that, well, how many shells were released. They are all going.
День на 4-й, коли ти вже осознаєш, що скільки випущено було снарядів, вони все йдуть.
Whether we only to block one side or they will go from the other direction, it was not clear. And yet, I would say a very emotional moment. This is when we went to the city of Kiev from its part, and the people in the villages that we drove through went out, got up on their knees, prayed for us, christened us, threw us, I do not know, food, cigarettes, everything.
Виходили, ставали на коліна, молилися за нас, хрестили нас, закидали нам я не знаю, їжу, сигарети, все, що й кричали, хлопці, ми з вами, дайте тим. Прикурити. Зараз немає цих емоцій вже, зараз ти просто знаєш, ти робиш свою роботу, і вдихання, вже хлопці привикли, вже ті, хто не міг підняти снаряд, там їм було тяжко, вже вони, я б сказав, стали професіоналами своєї справи, вони зараз навіть без допомоги можуть закидати все, що хочуть, кажуть, що йди, там, не мішай. Зараз хлопці більше
I would say, not very good. Since emotions give you a barrier to work, bright minds, well, your own thinking gets clogged. If you worry about everyone, about your family, then it is oppressive. And so the guys have free time. They came from this, called their relatives, everything is fine, everything is fine, everything is fine.
За свою сім'ю, то воно нагнітає. А так хлопці мають вільний час. Там приїхали з этого, передзвонили рідним, уже все нормально, все нормально, все хорошо.
Well, we are also sitting without light. Well, I would say that there are no emotions, such as one feeling, to give a quick blow to this misfortune that they left here.
Немає отаке одне
чувство дати швидше прочухану цій нечисті, що вони пішли відсюди.
The machine of death. Fire. The machine, according to the book, is called 2S7 Pia. There is a modernization in our division. There is a regular. So 203 caliber, the shell weighs 110 kilograms, sends very quickly. Too fast. The Muscovites do not even have time to react and not understand what hit them.
Відправляє, дуже швидко. Занадто швидко москалі не співають зреагувати, понять, що їм прилетіло. Був такий случай, що вони не знали, що прилетіло, кричали, там відео дивились, там Байрактар, там ще щось, вони просто не знають, откуда воно прилітає.
The car is one of the most powerful in the country and one of the most powerful in gun artillery.
В країні і одна із самих потужних із ствольної артилерії.
Well, I don't even know how to say it. We just don't see any more powerful weapons. And these Panzers, for example, Kreuzer M777, they cannot perform the tasks that we do. We perform tasks of different nature. Something to suppress the infantry, to suppress the enemy's equipment. That is, to smoke them out of blindages or a large-scale fortification of some kind of fence.
Що подавити техніку ворожу, що викурити їх із бліндажів або великоешелонованої такої укріп якоїсь загороди, там,
If all the actions are carried out as described in the book, the gun is just a sniper. So they say D30, a sniper rapier that shoots at tanks with direct guidance. This machine is also a sniper for 30 kilometers. Favored Pions. So the first gun I had was called Victoria.
Значить, перша гармата в мене називалася Victoria.
It was written in Latin, Victory, Victoria. Such a beautiful, healthy trident was painted. Well, you know, there was such enthusiasm. Somehow stand out so that your machine would be noticed somewhere. And that's it. This is Victoria shooting, so it's beautiful there. The second one we had was two falcons. I don't know where we found it. There was such a beautiful sticker. A circle, two falcons.
Дві сокири. Я не знаю, де ми знайшли, там наклейка така красива була, кружок, дві сокири.
And we thought, what should we call it?
Думали, як же її назвати.
Приклеїв наклейку, думали, там,
може сокира Перуна, там, і може щось із вікінгів там придумати. Ну, так нічого не придумали, називали її два топора. То нам давали три топора, тобто М3 семірка.
And I decided not to call the third one, well, you know, something like that. Well, I don't want to come up with, you know, some first one will come back and will be jealous. And when Victoria returns from the factory, she will say that she changed me for something. Motivatio. We have one motivation in Ukrainians. How many years we as a nation have suffered the oppression of Russia? Then, starting, I think, from the Cossacks, all people, all generations dreamed of throwing off the yoke of hatred and claims to our land.
Я думаю, з козацтва всі люди, всі покоління мріяли скинути ярмо це ненависті і претендування на наші землі.
I think the motivation should be the same to win and drive them away forever, to make it so that they never return. The military team thanks you for watching. Now like, share your impressions in the comments. And don't forget to click the bell icon not to miss our next program.
Не забудь натиснути дзвіночок, аби не пропустити нашу наступну програму. Далі буде.